Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with a little bit of a disheartening talking tactics this week. Obviously, we're always here when we win. We have to be here when we lose. Thankfully, it's not very often, but many times we find more out when we do get beat as we do when we win games. So, Gareth, not the best of matches, but I'm sure you are back with plenty of fantastic analysis for us.
My hot takes are back again, for for what it's worth at a 4-0 drubbing, but it was very disappointing when I think we're all really disappointed, expected a lot more from that.
Yeah, exactly. Before we get into it, guys, do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We had a fantastic response to my quick match reaction the other day. I think it's approaching 8,000 views. I don't know what that means, whether people like seeing us, like watching. Maybe it's a lot of Spurs fans, reveling in the victory. Well, that's fine. As long as you like the video, as long as you subscribe to the channel and help us. We're nearly at 3,500, which is brilliant, on the road to 4K. And again, get your comments in. A few requests, Gareth, for you to be on a fans forum live show. So we'll do that in a few weeks' time. So get your questions in for Gareth as well in the comments, and we'll get on a show. So into the normal viz, and you've got a few extra ones for us as well today, because there was a lot of conversation around Villa's conceding goals after half time. So a little bit of information there, some more to come in future weeks as well. But looking at the passing networks, anything to kind of write home about here? Anything that you were noticing?
No, if I'm honest. I mean, we're going to get into the shape earlier, why it was changed. Only he will know that. I just don't. It absolutely baffled me when I saw the inclusion of both Cash, Digne and Konsa in the side. Straight away, I'm thinking we're going to a back five here. We've never played it, not in that I can remember, anyway, apart from sort of different tweaks in possession or whatever. We've never started that in a 5-3-2. It's to me, I'm still trying to process that and figure that out, because I can't understand the reasoning behind it when we've played teams that play a shape very similar to Spurs, Manchester City, for example, and we coped admirably well. Why do that again? I fear that this might be something that he's looking to implement ahead of the Manchester City game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think it will be the last time we see this, particularly with personnel out. But I guess the thing that strikes for me is it looks, obviously it did seem that on the pitch as well, watching it on the TV, but the players look so isolated from each other. Like, it just looks really disjointed in terms of where players are on the pitch. We're used to seeing these combinations on the right hand side of the pitch, the left hand side of the pitch, but everything's just so isolated.
Yeah, I don't understand, like you say about personnel. For me, it's not an excuse. There's no change. A bit bar Ramsey being taken out of the side. I think he was struggling to. He didn't want to leave Longley out, and he probably didn't want to leave Konsa out. So he was struggling with the two. Well, it's an easy decision, isn't it? You leave Konsa in, you take Longley out. You keep the shape that you have prized success. I don't know what went through his mind. I can't figure that out. I can't.
Yeah. Quick look at the expected threat of contribution in terms of passes. Anything there that you're spotting? I mean, Luiz, Pape Sarr, Pedro Porro, like no fullbacks for Villa on there either, really.
This is one of the indicators that says we didn't have anything in the midfield whatsoever. We were totally dominated in there. They let time on the ball to do what they wanted with it, to pick neat passes. Pape Sarr is not known for his expected threat contributions, really, but yet given time on the ball, they were there. And Pedro Porro obviously moved into midfield that little bit more. He's another player that you've got to watch out for. But if we'd have just kept the 4-2-2, it would have been fine. That shape sort of helps with sort of monitoring Spurs' shape. It wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah. And then this one that we like in terms of the locations of the passes, a lot of long balls for Villa, and then lots of passes around the area for Tottenham.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it last week, didn't we? That Martinez is starting to play those longer balls up to Watkins and so forth, which kind of works in and out. But last week it worked kind of well because we changed it up when we did it. But this time it didn't really, because you're sort of playing against two sort of centre halves who were quite bullish, who were quite sort of upwardly mobile, if you like, are fairly quick and everything. But again, we'll get into that in a bit. But it was just, everything was just off, wasn't it? Sort of tactically as.
Yeah, definitely. It just looks so unfamiliar for the players. Yes, they were hanging in there, but yeah, just couldn't. It's always telling, like, you can keep organised, I guess, at the back, but you need to be like in flow to go forwards and to cause problems and to be a threat in attack. And we just weren't that. And I guess the XG, kind of tells its own story.
Yeah, I mean, the 4 shots at 0.25 shot, they took it. They took their chances really, really well. And we're not taking anything away from Tottenham, but this is one of those games where you can clearly say that we did play into their hands quite and easy. I bet they couldn't believe their luck.
Yeah, 100%. And then the timeline, I mean, Villa. I mean, it took a while for Tottenham to have their first efforts. And we contained them, like we said, in the first half. But once they got that goal, it was steady from there, and we just couldn't get anything going. And obviously, the red card is gonna affect that as well.
Yeah, I mean, remember we've talked over the last 3 weeks about Villa getting goals at important times, either just before or just after half time. Tottenham gave us a lesson in it today in the game.
Yeah. Now, a quick look at this. Like we said, a lot of talk on X or Twitter about kind of goals scored and conceded, where we are in terms of that status in the Premier League. And I know there's some more work that you want to do on this, but just briefly looking at this in terms of goals scored and conceded before half time. What is the picture telling us? We're pretty strong on this area.
Yeah, exactly that. Look at the bottom right hand score, the bottom side of the chart. High scorers, low conceders. You know, we're scoring in the first half 29 goals scored, only 13 conceded. So that's 1.3 scored per half in the first half, and only 0.46 conceded. First half is telling us that we're pretty strong.
Yeah. But then a slight change in second half. Scored and conceded after half time. Still slightly in favour for us, but not fantastic at all when you look at the figures.
Yeah, I think people sort of as I say, I've done this because I've had quite a few messages about, can you do something on, where are we conceding goals? And like we said, you highlighted there, we're going to do it sort of try and break it down into 15-minute segments to see how sort of we can go, which we can do. So we're scoring in the second half of games, we're scoring 30. We've scored 30. We've conceded 28. So scoring at 1.07 per 90 and conceding 1 goal every per 90. So it's not actually that bad. But when you consider we've played 28 games, so we're conceding a goal a game in the second half, pretty much on average every game.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine when we score first and things like that, but it's more difficult if you concede that goal, in that second half. And we know most teams in the Premier League aren't fantastic at coming back from behind anyway. Like most teams, when they get a goal up, obviously the tactics they use and all that kind of stuff, they're more likely to get the result. But yeah, it just becomes that much more difficult when you do concede or you get pegged back. You score in the second half and then get pegged back again, and you kind of draw in. It is difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand why, especially, sort of when you're looking at the second half of games, you've got Liverpool scoring 43 goals in the second half of games. You've got teams like Arsenal 39, Manchester City 37, Brighton 29, Tottenham 37. So we're not doing too bad at 30, but is that top 4? Don't know. It's only one thing, I know, but it's a difficult thing,
especially in those key games. We talk about these big games. The games with teams around us. Like I tweeted out the other day. Like I know we got a bit of flack for it, where people saying, "Oh, do you not realise we beat Arsenal and Man City?" Yeah, I do, but the recent games suggest when you're getting beaten off Man United twice, Tottenham once, Newcastle once, and we've got these games against West Ham, Brighton, Chelsea, and the top 3 to come. It's look, we've got to be getting some results against those teams, and it's not looking like earlier on in the season, unfortunately.
No, I think people kind of get a bit caught up, don't they? Well, like you said, we've beat these, we've beat that. Yeah, but you got to beat them twice. you can't just beat them once. You've got to be beating these teams multiple times if you want to either win a title or you want to consolidate a top 4 finish. You know, and we spoke about it earlier in the season, and we couldn't believe where we were in 4th position. You know, we still can't. You know, it has to be sustainable over the course of a season. You can't just say, well, we've beat Arsenal once, we've beat Man City once. Yeah, great. But like you've pointed out, we got beat by United twice. We've been battered by Tottenham at home. You know, and that's not good enough.
Yeah. Well, we'll look, guys. We don't want to be down. It's just looking at the game. It's looking at what, you know, this particular game, this analysis of what we're doing. And yeah, Gareth puts a lot of time into it. So yes, we know we're in a good position in the league. We're well aware of that. But you got to look at what's happening. Do hit the like button now, hit the subscribe button, keep your comments coming in as well. Help us on the road to 4,000 subscribers. So let's get into some of the things that you saw in the game. Obviously, you've touched on the formation, you've touched on kind of how, maybe not even understanding why Emery did it, but yeah, 5-3-2 formation is the first thing that you've picked out.
Yeah, I don't quite know. So I'm still trying to sort of fathom as to why he decided to do it. I mean, Spurs are sort of in a sort of, they played with the fullbacks in, you know, in tucked in, but we didn't see that much of that in this game. It was more Porro than Ndoggy. But it was just, I thought Cash coped really well in wide areas. I've got to say, I don't think he was about. I think generally defensively, like we said at half time on the group, we were quite solid. We were pretty good. You know, there was no outlet. There was nothing to go. If you're going to go long, then go long. That's fine. But these players sort of struggled to then sort of be able to build stuff through the thirds, like we've seen them do really, really well. Dougie was sort of isolated in the middle there with no one either side of him. He wasn't sure where to go. Did he go wide? Did he go long? It was a lot of confusion for me.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like a containment job, and then almost like just think on the hop, and then particularly in these areas here, like the first phase build up strategy. What did you think it was?
This was one of the most immensely frustrating things for me when I saw it. You got three centre halves, all inside the inside the 18-yard box. Why? You don't need to do that. You don't do that when you don't pull someone else in. You don't pull a fullback in, or you play them wide. What's going on here? It's almost like we're frightened. Look at Cash's position and Dina's position. It's almost like we're frightened to advance up the pitch in case we get caught out. That shape that you see Spurs in, we've seen Newcastle do it that way. We've seen Fulham do it that way. So we're familiar with it. But it's almost like this. Look, there's 4 players, including the goalkeeper, inside the 18-yard box. I don't get that. And then when the play opens up, you're then condensed. You see, you've not got that room to breathe. You've not got that room to make a pass or anything. It was just too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a bit bizarre. And when we did manage to get into the opposition half, what are you noticing here with that? You've raised it mid-block and central midfield positioning.
Yeah, I mean, it's only Ollie Watkins that looked like he wanted to press. And it was, you can't really do that in a 5-3-2, because if you do, you're then exposed. And it was kind of like, did Tielemans push on? Tielemans was the one for me. I felt so sorry for him. He didn't know whether to drop back onto pushing onto Bissouma. He didn't know whether to drop into Porro, who'd moved into midfield. He didn't really know what to do. There was a lot of confusion. Confusion is the word that I took out of it.
Yeah, it was just, it's so difficult as well when you play like a different type of formation. Yes, you've maybe practiced it in the week a little bit, but did they really practice it with having Ajax the game like Thursday before? Like it just looks so strange. But yeah, this one, third man running, was this what we were trying to do to try and tempt Tottenham out?
No, it wasn't what we were trying to do. It was what we should have done, really, because look at the pace. I never understood. First of all, they changed it around after half an hour, Villa. It was Watkins on where Bailey is now, and they swapped it around because they realised that what the pace that Mickey van der Ven has would be more suited to Leon Bailey, basically. Try and distract and let Romero go up against Watkins. But we didn't do it enough. But all you got to do is this is simple, basic football. Make a third man run from midfield. Look, Dougie's got loads of time on the ball. Tottenham are playing a high line, the back four's there. Make that running between the centre halves. Make a decision. Turn them round. Didn't happen.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, I don't know what else to say really. And then in the second half, you put back to what you know. Obviously, the McGinn sending off kind of put a real dampener on that situation. But were you seeing any signs of slight recovery once we kind of went back into this formation just for that short while?
Not signs of recovery, I wouldn't say, but at least we retained possession. At least we kept the ball a little bit better. But we can still see this is before the McGinn sending off, by the way. So we've still got the 4-4-2. But it's personnel you're bringing on. Moussa Diaby's massively out of form. Doesn't look right to me. Nicola Zaniolo looks like he's just playing for time. He's just filling the void. That's all he's doing. And again, it's sort of like a little bit sort of back to what we know. But by this time, this is 4-0 down, Rich. Too little, too late.
Yeah. Well, no, we wouldn't because McGinn was
Sorry.
on. So
This was at 2-0 down.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Still same. Still too little, too late.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So look, is it? I guess just to kind of potentially put a little bit of a positive spin on it. It was a poor performance. We've been beaten 4-0. You can't sugarcoat it any more than that. But obviously we've had setbacks before where you kind of put in it as a bad day at the office, setback, and players can kind of bounce back, as they've kind of shown us before this season.
Bounce back ability is what Ian Dowie used to say. So that's probably what we're going to be looking at. I mean, I think it depends. The Ajax game, if we can beat Ajax on Thursday, I think that's a massive boost. I really do think that's a big boost to their confidence. Just got to find that little bit of consistency again, I think. The worry is that you've got to go to Wolves. Is it Wolves next? Wolves next. So I mean, you've got to
West Ham away on Sunday.
Away, sorry. So you've also got games against Manchester City. And it's the Arsenal game at the Emirates that worries me at the moment.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of twists and turns to come. Tottenham have got to play all those teams. Man United, they're still not playing very well. So it's still there. I asked the question, have we got the bottle? And I think we have. There's no reason why we can't beat West Ham. There's no reason we can't beat Brighton away. There's no reason why we can't beat Chelsea at home. I just think we've got to win like 2 out of 3 or 4 of those games against those kind of mid, 9th to 5th, 6th teams to kind of make ourselves like away from them, but also keep us in that top 4 spot. Yes, you can say if you can pick up a bonus result against an Arsenal, City, or Liverpool, then great. But Tottenham have got to play them 3 as well. So that's, I think, the key games for me are the ones against the West Ham, Brighton, Wolves, Chelsea's. They're the 4 key games for me.
Yeah, they're the ones that you're going to look to sort of maximise your points from, aren't they? You're right. And it just depends who we've got available, how we get, and what the feeling is like after Ajax, maybe, which I'm confident we should win. I think you're right. It's one of them things, isn't it? Like you say, I think the big thing is for me, and you've highlighted it yourself, is that Tottenham have got to play Arsenal, Manchester City, haven't they, and Liverpool. Yeah, I think that's big. That's big. So somebody's going to drop points there one way or the other. It's just a shame on Saturday we couldn't have made that 8-gap point. That really would have sort of helped us, I think, and that would have made a decision for Ajax as well. I think, in terms of personnel. So it's a bit different, but yeah, let's hope. But I'm not worried.
Yeah. Nice one. Well, we will be here every step of the way to give you the wonderful analysis that Gareth provides. Where can everyone find you, mate? Both online and social media.
Yeah, so you can find me at Analytics GC, and all the weekend's games are going to be up on the website gcanalytics.net today.
Brilliant, and we'll put that in the description as well. So make sure you visit that. Make sure you follow Gareth. We'll be back, obviously, with fans forums, match previews, everything like that this week. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, help us on the road to past 3.5K onto 4K. Get your comments in as well. Thank you all for watching, and as always, remember, we'll follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.